Hello everyone and welcome. Make a cup of your favorite drink and get comfortable because this is a wonderful time for new stories from YellowCat. Send your own stories in the comments below and maybe they'll be in our new video. People who work at 5-star hotels. What type of S goes on that management doesn't want people to know? Worked in 5-star hotels in Beverly Hills. Boy, do I have stories. Shake picks up a hooker in a bar, takes her to his room. She roofies him and steals tens of thousands of cash, watches, and valuables. Husbands who will say hello to staff with their mistress on their arm on Thursday nights and their wife on Friday nights. Famous teen celebrity left a room full of needles and various drug paraphernalia behind for housekeeping to clean up. Middle Eastern royalty ships in multiple Ferraris and Lamborghinis to the hotel from their home country to drive for the week. Caught drag racing later that night by the cops in the neighborhood of Beverly Hills. Largest checkout bills I've ever seen was roughly $2 million for guest who rented out an entire floor of suites for 3 weeks, promptly paid via wire transfer. Had to procure $100,000 in cash for a guest whose wife wanted to shop on Rodeo Drive the next morning. The local bank doesn't even have that much. Had to get an armored car from the central LA bank branch to deliver. The list goes on. Lots of prostitution and all the drama/legal trouble that goes along with it. Corporate functions like conventions, parties, etc., where there's an open bar almost always leads to something effed up happening. One hotel I worked at hosted a Christmas party for an investment firm, and 2 guys started jockeying for the affection of a female coworker. They all wound up on an elevator together, and the guys started fighting. The elevator went into safety lockdown. We had to call the PD and FD. One guy went in a squad car. One guy went in an ambulance. We had to give the woman some clothes from Lost and Found because her dress was covered in blood, and the elevator was out of service for 6 hours to clean it up. There's always a ton of back-of-house drama too, especially among the execs and the junior managers. Affairs, backstabbing, a little light fraud, the usual. I don't work in one anymore, but used to. This isn't really shenanigans, but the staff is not nearly so impressed by famous or rich people as some of them seem to think we should be. It was a fancy hotel. We had rich and famous guests all the time. And it was usually the ones nowhere near the top of the ladder who tried to be the most imperious and expect the most deference. If you had to try to convince us you're high status, you aren't. We'd provide polite professional service for all of our guests and try to be helpful and accommodating, but being a C-list actor or whatever isn't going to get you a table in a full restaurant or an upgrade to the already occupied fancier suites. And if there's a severe blizzard and the airport is closed, we can't open it for you because you're too special to have to wait to fly out, even if you're a very important businessman. As part of our training as bellmen, we are to ask open-ended questions to the children to make sure they aren't being used for trafficking when bringing in luggage to dad and daughter types. My dad works in security in the same hotel, so he often gives me a heads up if the guest with the child is already under suspicion regarding their behavior at the front desk for check-in. It rarely happens, but hotels are breeding grounds for traffickers. The questions vary depending on the amount of information security in the front desk tells the crew. Has this guest ever stayed with us or any of our other different umbrella hotels? What events are currently going on in the hotel? Was the child uncomfortable upon entry, looking down, crying, silent, dirty clothing? Lines of questions trying to get the child to speak in general, as many traffickers take in children that don't speak English. Otherwise, questions about their stay get directed at the child instead of the guardian. What adventures are you guys up to here in Chicago? Is your dad here on business? We crouch and say if they would like to help the bellman work. Most kids love the experience. We usually crouch down and try to make eye contact. If I can't definitively tell security that the child is 100% comfortable in their surroundings, or if the guardian tries to lead the child away from me deliberately, security gets an internal investigation going. My dad has given me confirmations of arrests made of guests that I had attended to. Summer is a hectic season, and it happens more than you would like. Dead people. In some places, there's a reasonable chance somebody has died in your bed. Obviously, it varies with the type of hotel and its clientele, but some places you get deaths weekly. Not that the hotel is unsafe, but unfit old people overexerting themselves. One place I worked at, maybe 40% of the beds had been died in. Bed bugs. They happen in every hotel. You might be paying $5,000 a night, but your luggage was in the hold with everyone else's. If there's only 1 or 2 bugs and none in the adjacent rooms, diamond style, so above, below, and both sides, then you brought them in. You know what I never saw happen? Maid stealing. Everyone always points at maids when they lose stuff, but we always found it. No way the maids are risking their jobs over your used iPad or mall jewelry. With tips, they make pretty decent money. I used to work at a hotel when I was maybe 20, where this man would come in with 2 young women, definitely teens, and never let them speak. They'd come back somewhat bruised. Then he started coming in with other men, and the girls, everything paid in cash. My manager said, "It happens, leave it." A woman told me the next morning she thinks she was AR'd by the same men. She woke up naked in her room with a pain in her genitals after having drinks with them. Management again. Leave it, she's crazy and was drunk. So I called the police and corporate and left that day. Detective called me a couple days later for a report and to come in and ID the man, as well as some customers of the man. Turns out the girls were underage and not from here, is all I was told. Manager was investigated as a participant and fired. Never trust glass in rooms. GRAs are so stretched thin on time that they will clean the glasses with the same rags they clean the bathroom. After all, their goal is to make the room look clean. I worked as a GRA in a 5-diamond for years, and there was over a year period that went by where we didn't get a clean glass delivery. We didn't have dishwashers in the room, so management was complicit. This was in a 5-diamond, one of the top resorts in the world. Never trust glass in hotel rooms. We don't bat an eye at pee or whatever goes on in the rooms as long as it doesn't affect other guests. Half the women that come to the bar are working girls looking for a sale. The only thing that the hotel industry ever really reports is human trafficking. There are telltale signs, and if something doesn't add up, we do report it to local authorities. I don't know about all 5-star hotels, but I'm sure this happens at most of them. Front desk/reservation staff will basically stalk you online if you're a notable VIP, and your picture will be shared internally to ensure everyone recognizes you so you feel special when you arrive and everyone already knows who you are. The scale. Management wants things to be automatic for you. A person there when you need them and every item you could need before you need it. But the scale of that is purposefully hidden. For example, you see your housekeeper. You might see that there are 5 other housekeepers on that floor, a houseman per floor, and a special request delivery person if you look closely. You don't see the 4 to 6 desk workers manning the radio so that we know when to enter certain rooms, who want special pillows, how we manage the 3 rooms that all want service at 1 p.m. or replacing rooms that asked for no service. You don't see the 6 supervisors spot-checking checkout rooms for cleanliness, nor do you see the laundry teams, plural. Sheet and guest laundry are separate, and guest is split into dry cleaning and non-dry clean. You might see the public parlor attendants, but you probably won't see the team cleaning the pool or deep cleaning the gym sauna. At 7:30 a.m. every morning, the surface area just explodes with activity, like you kick 2 ant nests at once. 60 housekeepers on a single shift? Guess it's a slow day. And that's just housekeeping. We have 3 industrial-scale kitchens for various purposes, 4 if you count pastries. Security teams, contract companies for large events, teams of engineers in every specialty. I don't even know where the IT office is, but we do have one. I'm one of the more knowledgeable on where to find items for special requests, and I still find new storage rooms every other week. We found a 1930s printing press nobody knew we had. It's effing wild how many moving parts there are. Flipping 500 rooms in a day while setting up for 2 $1 million weddings simultaneously. Fulfilling 100 room service orders while catering those weddings while running out restaurant. Fixing a leaky shower head in the pool while ensuring a guest has an extra couch in their room for the kid that just loves couch beds. All of this together is called an average Tuesday in summer. I was a valet in college at a very swanky resort. The members had a certain sticker on their car, and the owners/partners had a black sticker, which I had no clue but knew they belonged. When a guy pulled up in a very nice Benz, I said, "Welcome back," not knowing his name. He was so peeved that I didn't know who he was. He was an A to me, but I couldn't care less. Moments later, another younger guy pulled up to valet and asked me what the guy said to me. I hesitantly said that he was mad I had no idea who he was. The young guy looked disappointed and said, "That's my father. He is an a-hole. Don't worry about him at all." Then he gave me $20 to park his car and was extremely nice to every employee who ever interacted with him. I wrote travel guides to places in the Middle East, Dubai, Qatar, Bahrain, Oman, etc., and have stayed in lots of 5-star hotels around the world for work. The whole 5-star system is murky from the start. The manager at a top-class London hotel told me that the hotel grading system in general is utter nonsense. The problem, he said, is that the list of criteria to reach each of the star ratings is little more than a tick sheet, albeit with around 500 factors to consider. For example, one criterion for being considered 5-star is fresh flowers being present in guest rooms, but there's a huge difference between a big ornate display of orchids and a bunch of daffodils. The presence of either would technically tick the box, and in theory you could fulfill all the required 5-star criteria, yet be hugely inferior to the hotel next door that offers all of the same things but at a much higher quality and standard. The Forbes travel guide gave just 6 London hotels a 5-star rating, including the one my insider works at, but that means that fantastic hotels like the Ritz, the Langham, the Berkeley, and Mandarin Oriental Hyde Park are only 4-star. Are they really 20% inferior to the 5-star rated Al Bustan Rotana in Garhound in Dubai, which is basically a business hotel near the airport? It's also difficult to maintain a consistent roll call of criteria as modern demands change. For example, Wi-Fi in the room is a relatively recent expectation, and what we expect as the standard has changed over the years, so what constitutes luxury now has altered accordingly. When Savory Hotel in London opened in 1889, it was boasting about features such as electric lifts, speaking tubes to link each floor, and fully plumbed bathrooms. Now though, in the era of the internet, crowdsourcing is often the most reliable way to judge somewhere. When hundreds of people on sites like TripAdvisor say a place is overpriced and terrible, then it doesn't matter what the official book says. And if a 1-star hotel gets nothing but praise from 90% of the people commenting, there's your consensus of rating right there. Thank you for watching. Guys, thank you for all the support and the likes. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed yet. See you next time.